Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button to keep up to date with our latest videos.
On this journey we will find our souls begin to intertwine. Your heart of gold so pure, divine. And I lost myself within the fire, breaking free from my desire. A heart of gold forged to inspire. It's Starfire. It's Starfire, Starfire,
Alright you guys, what is going on? As always, you're watching Roads Untraveled. My name is Marcus. And today, I am behind the wheel of a very special Supercharged NISMO 370Z. This will be a very cool comparison because I actually drove a bone stock NISMO 370Z very recently. If you haven't watched that video, you guys should definitely check it out. And we are still down here in Atlanta, Georgia. And thank you so much to the guys over at Royalty Performance for tossing us the keys to this car today. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So currently this car is putting down, guess, just take a guess you guys. If you guessed 603 wheel horsepower, you are correct, okay? With only 12 pounds of boost with a centrifugal supercharger, stock block, you guys, okay? So basically what Royalty Performance has done was they got this car, it had a stock still-in supercharger kit on it. Right? Basic kit, 400 wheel horsepower, and they put their own billet wheel inside the supercharger, and also they put a billet pulley on the rear of the supercharger. It is a, I believe it's a 3.25 inch pulley, and that is good for 603 wheel horsepower. A crap ton of power, plenty of power. Oh yeah, all right. It is running an aftermarket clutch right now. So it's a little bit chattery off the line. It takes a little bit to get used to. And you get that awesome constant suction of the supercharger when you're in vacuum, and then as soon as you get under load, it goes away, and then you get a blow off every time you shift. It's pretty fantastic. All right, second gear. Hooks up, awesome. Wow. Now, honestly, traditionally, I'm not the world's biggest 350 or 370Z fan, but the top end power, the nature of this engine is all top end power and like a little bit of mid-range torque, and this just accentuates the power band, so it's kind of the perfect combination of boost, you know, forced induction in combination with a completely daily drivable build, okay? This is a stock bottom end, and Royalty Performance actually has plans to put a 3-inch pulley on it instead of the 3.25 inch pulley on it, to get up to about 650 wheel. So they do have future plans for this car. So traction control is on it. Apparently traction actually works totally fine with this car, as it is stock, obviously, right? It's not too invasive, but the minute you go above 600 wheel horsepower, traction control becomes very invasive. So Justin, one of the owners over at Royalty Performance, has suggested I just turn it all the way off, which is awesome. I love hearing about that when we're talking about modified cars, because especially when you're talking about a traction control system that's made for, let's say, 350 horsepower like this is at the crank. We effectively have double the horsepower of the stock engine here. So clutch is not too forgiving off the line, but you just gotta ride it a little bit and then you're totally fine. And what's really cool is Royalty Performance has done their own custom air-to-air intercooler setup to work with the still-in kit. So everything but the supercharger is all proprietary and custom to Royalty Performance. And this is one of the only supercharged 370Zs in the world to crest over 600 wheel horsepower, or so I've been told. So they have the stock still-in kit basically came with a very small water-to-air intercooler setup on the top of the intake manifold, and Royalty Performance have gone away and taken out that core so it just flows completely freely through there, and then they've built their own big front mount air-to-air intercooler setup to go with it, which as far as I can tell for them has worked very well and has been much more efficient than the small core with the still-in kit. Like I said, 12 PSI. They plan to run 14 in the future, maybe hit 650 to 700 horsepower in the future, but we will see, because again, it's it's a very tricky game you play when you're pushing. That guy wanted a little pull. He was like, can I hear it? Yes, you can. And this is still running stock headers and stock catalytic converters. It's just got a catback on it. So it's still relatively quiet around town. But like I said, that still leaves room for more power gains in the future, which is exactly what Royalty Performance is going to do. This is one of their kind of showcase cars, or showcase builds that they have. It takes a while to get used to that. It's a really distinct supercharger sound that they have. Oh, it sounds awesome. It really does. These cars have great steering right from the factory, awesome steering wheel. Tach is dead in the center of the gauge cluster. And it's a 6-speed. The clutch is a little bit grabby for the street, but other than that, drivability has not been sacrificed in the slightest, okay? Still at stock ride height. As far as I know, all the suspension is stock. Still got all the creature comforts. We've managed to keep AC in this car as well. Just a riot to drive, as you can hear. Very angry, very angry. The Z cars have always been, in my mind, the muscle cars of the Japanese world. And this is, I mean, superchargers are kind of, to my point of view, are kind of an American thing. Like I said, not a big fan of the 350Z, but the 370 is a different beast altogether. And I've already got like a little bit of adrenaline shakes going on. All right, here's third gear from 4,000. Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Plenty enough power, but it's not scary. It's not a scary power at all. It basically just takes the stock power band, adds some insanely cool noises, and then adds a lot more top end power. And it just keeps on building. It's really quite something else. This engine revs to 7,500 RPM. We're gonna calm down a little bit here. I mean, I don't want to get deported. I'm not in my home country. I'm not American. The United States is not my country. So to come down here, it is an honor, it is a privilege. Everybody down here in the South, I just want to say, has been incredibly humble and sweet, and Southern hospitality has been very nice to us. So I appreciate you guys down here in the South having us for about a week down here. It's been a blast. So I just want to say thanks, guys, for all that. Yeah, even 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. One of my critiques with the stock NISMO 370 is the torque number is just not impressive. It's just not a very impressive torque number. So to see it effectively be raised throughout the power band, especially near the top end, is something you can really look forward to if you're going to go, or if you're considering the supercharger route in one of these cars. And it kind of gives you good confidence that you can, so far, reliably, this car's been on the road for 6 months, up the power to, 500 plus, and in this case, 600 plus wheel horsepower without blowing up the engine block. Car looks really good. That wing in the back is aces. Awesome aces in this car. The interior is much nicer than a 350Z, a little bit nicer than a stock 370 as well. The Nismo does add a few things. You've got some nice red stitching, Alcantara steering wheel, these Nismo seats. If you're gonna supercharge a 370, obviously the normal 370 is a lot cheaper, but this is basically the be-all, end-all of the Z car in 2018. Is this what you're looking at right now is pretty much as good as it gets. Even with traction up, it hooks up totally fine in second gear. Absolutely fine, hooks up in second gear. You do get a little bit of traction though at the top of second, which speaks a lot to the power band that the supercharger actually adds. I mean, it drones a little bit, but it's a very aggressive growl this engine has. Very aggressive growl. Little wind down whistle when you come down to a stop. Just a pleasure to drive. All the sights and the sounds of this car are very animated. It's a kind of a cartoonish car. Everything in the interior, the way it's laid out, it's very kind of comical, like straight out of a comic book or like a movie or something. It's very Hot Wheels-esque, this car. It's honestly, it's got a lot of character, and I can't really say that about many modern Z cars. They kind of have less and less character the newer you get with them, but this car in particular, the sounds and the sights of this car are awesome. Something to be remembered, absolutely. The inputs are all very good too. This seating position is made specifically for me, I feel like. A lot of aftermarket seats nowadays, and new cars even, will just have too big, like, as funny as it sounds, they have side bolsters that are too big, and when you go to steer, your elbow just gets caught on them. This seating position is great, and the shifter position as well is pretty much perfect. Shifter feel is awesome. Like I said, the only thing that you really got to get used to is the clutch, which is aftermarket, right? And you kind of need that when you're doubling the power. Wing looks awesome in the rear view. All of the things you love about a 370 just amplified and magnified up to 10. Honestly, you guys, it is, this is one sensory overload, that's for damn sure. Faster and faster the more you give it, and the higher the boost pressure is. Only 12 PSI for 600 wheel, very impressive. Temps are all good. It's a driver's car. This is absolutely a driver's car. The focus is on the inputs, the feel of the car, the sights and the sounds, like I was saying. That's what it's all about. So again, thanks Justin and the guys over at Royalty Performance for having us, and on such short notice, tossing me the keys to this awesome looking NISMO 370Z with a nuts supercharger on it. So I appreciate you guys making the time, and yeah, thanks guys for watching. Hit us up, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit me up on Instagram if you want to see all the stuff we're doing in the future. And until then, we'll see you next time, you guys, back up in Canada.